Hi Virgo, welcome to your end of September 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Oh my gosh, it's like I was having one of these experiences where I was just kind of like rambling. I mean, somebody might say, oh, that's not rare for you, but I mean, for me, rambling, for me to realize how much I was rambling, I'm like, I got to start over again. So, oh well, so it is. Happy birthday to those of you who are born in the last 10 degrees of Virgo, which is the time of this reading. Also, there's going to be a new moon in Libra on September 28th, and that's going to fall in your second house of earned income. So when those personal planets start going into Libra, that's going to trigger your earned income sector, the money house. So that can be very good for your, purse. The heart of the matter is the Nine of Swords. This can be a card of insomnia, anxiety, and perhaps even kind of like, unease about something, and that you feel that sense of like, you're worried about something, and it could be that you're worried about nothing. I think Virgo people in general, I have the moon in Virgo, so I can say this, but somebody with a prominent, even a rising sign in Virgo, tend to be kind of high strung. The ruler is Mercury, and it kind of is about thought and thinking, maybe thinking too much, and that leaves you kind of like mentally restless. One of the things that can be a lifesaver is meditation. I think one of the reasons why a Virgo or a Gemini person, both of them ruled by Mercury, might shy away from meditation is because their minds are so active, they don't like to just sit still and be thinking. They want to exercise their mind the way some people like to exercise their body. A person who is ruled by Mercury likes to exercise their mind, like, a heavy reader, somebody who loves to, have conversations with others about things that are happening. And yet, that can lead to a lot of mental unrest. And especially if you have a particular dilemma on your hands, Virgo, it probably would be best to resist the temptation to discuss it with somebody, unless you're dealing with somebody that really kind of thinks outside of the box, to use a well-worn cliche. Because what I have found sometimes is that when you talk to somebody who's just like in the matrix, and they're just like, everything that they think is based on what the so-called experts have said, and they're just kind of regurgitating what they've heard, they're not going to give you a necessarily wise viewpoint. They're actually going to probably increase your anxiety, because they're absorbing things from the outside world that are meant to generate anxiety. Some of the so-called, experts and the information that is being propagated. So be very careful about where you get your information. Let's put it that way, if you're looking to make some important decision. Oh yeah, and I was thinking, well, why am I saying that they need to make an important decision? Well, it was this card, and I wasn't even paying attention to that. One of the reasons I said this is because you got 3 swords cards, and so that's about thinking, but it could be conflict. So maybe there's conflictive thinking or speaking. Also, swords could be somebody you're dealing with. So maybe you do have a Gemini person in your life who is, maybe they're causing you anxiety, and you're not, you might know this intellectually, but you are still of the mindset that you can work it out or something. Sorry, I'm repositioning myself here. So that person may be creating a lot of stress for you. And in the past position, we have the Seven of Swords. This could be somebody who is cheating on you. Somebody who is stealing from you, whether it's like physical property or intellectual property. So even in the workplace, a copycat, somebody who is just shameless in this regard, who just, they pass off other people's ideas as their own. I don't know if I'm repeating this story to you, but I was working in a retail environment, and we had to have these stupid meetings. It's bad enough when you're working in a retail environment, and sometimes you have to work late at night, and you have to work weekends, and you don't get paid hardly anything. And I remember, we had to have these stupid meetings, but the reason that they were stupid is because they were just there for window dressing. When you tried to actually give suggestions, you could tell that they were kind of dismissed, because we were peons, we were the retail clerks, And so I remember one time I came up with this idea to have an awning on the store, because it was the kind of store, it didn't look like it was the type of store it was. It was a health food store, and it didn't look like it. It looked like a bank or something. And then I said to the general manager, I think we should do this and have a sign in the mall and all this stuff. And the district manager, they have that pecking order, said, yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, that was my, kind of like that. And I was thinking, God, these people are such, it really made me see how, people don't have any shame about that kind of thing. They're just like suck-ups, they're just, so the thing is, it's like you could be in that workplace situation yourself where you're this idea person and somebody else is trying to, and maybe they're in a higher position and they're trying to take your ideas and run with them. What else? But like I said, this could even be like somebody cheating on you or stealing from you, yeah, but cheating and you know it and it makes you anxious. Well, the higher message is Three of Wands, so this is your time for adventure and expansion. So you might be too hyper focused on a situation that is really beneath you, that you have allowed your life to get too small, and that you have so much more to offer the world. And the Three of Wands has an entrepreneurial energy. So if you're kind of in this rut or, this kind of closed in situation where you feel claustrophobic, you feel like the walls are closing in, and you feel like you're not being heard, even though, we have all these swords here, there could still be this feeling of you could scream because nobody's listening to you, and you feel invisible. And that could be the universe's way to say it's time to change your course in life. Isn't it funny that we forget that we're free? That we are free agents. A lot of times we'll use money as an excuse and we'll say, yeah, I can't because of this. But something? We still are free. If you admit that you are afraid of leaving a situation because you don't want to be without the money, and that's like a guaranteed source of money, just admit that to yourself, but know that you're still free. Don't feel like the Nine of Swords, like you are trapped in some kind of a situation, and don't feel anxiety about it. No, if you could just change your mindset, you would be able to tolerate something for a longer period of time if it's not truly injurious to you. And sometimes it is. Sometimes a person is in a very negative place and they should leave. But if it's really not that bad, and if you're kind of just that you realize that you're done with whatever it is that you're doing, but you still are anxious about the idea of having to just let it go completely, then don't let it go completely. Let go of the dream that it's going to get any better and accept it for what it is, and then just kind of plot your departure. Because actually the Seven of Swords may not have anything to do with cheating or stealing. It could have to do with you strategizing. And it's really about being very cunning about how you're going to extricate yourself from a situation that you feel kind of trapped in, whether it's a lousy marriage or a job that you just can't stomach anymore. And you know, the Three of Wands may be entrepreneurial, that you have something that you want to launch, but there are other things that you need to do first, perhaps, to get into that proper mindset. What crosses you is the Two of Swords, and one of these things is feeling at a stalemate, like there's a stalemate within yourself, perhaps. Feeling like you don't know where to go next. Maybe you can't make that decision. Sometimes, people make, I think sometimes in kind of the spiritual area of life, there is like a little bit too much kind of making it seem like it's so easy to make decisions. It really can be difficult to make decisions if you don't have a clear vision for how, what you want your life to look like. And I wish that when people are giving advice that's like spiritual advice, that they would take that into consideration. Because I think too often they act like it's so easy to make decisions, and it's not when you don't have a clear alternative. So how I would characterize this Two of Swords card, Virgo, is if you find it very hard to make a decision at this time, then don't make it, but take incremental steps towards your dream. And if you don't even know what you want your life to look like, then start to figure it out. One of the things, you've probably heard about vision boards and things like that. If you don't want to, I always I've never created a physical vision board, in part because you have to cut things out of magazines. How easy is it to get magazines these days? So one of the things you can do is create a board on Pinterest. And that can be like a virtual vision board where you find images in all areas of life. It doesn't have to be just, your dream job or where you would like to live. But, anything that grabs your interest, that has a physical representation, and put it on that board, and every day look at it, maybe add to it. And the point being that you can gradually form an idea of what you want so that you can be able to know exactly what steps there are to take. And then you can make your decision with greater ease. Because sometimes it isn't that easy, and self-help types of people always kind of make it like, oh yeah, you have to be able to make this decision to leave a relationship or leave a job, and it's not that easy. It's not that easy to do. So don't beat yourself up if you find that you're having a hard time gathering the courage or having that clear vision. The advice, or it's coming in, is the Death card. This is about transition in life. So that really does speak to the issue of endings, okay? And this card is connected to Scorpio. So timing-wise, there may be something, because the new moon in Scorpio, or even the sun going into Scorpio, is right around the same time in October. And the reason this is, you know, the new moon in Scorpio is going to be in an early degree of Scorpio. It's going to be on the 27th of October. And so that's about 5 weeks from when I'm, 5 or 6 weeks from when I'm recording this. So this can be a time, the new moon is going to fall for you specifically in your 3rd house. This might be a timing card of when, you know, you're going to start to have a new, like a change of mind. The 3rd house is the mind. It can be like, you know, teaching and learning and things like that, but we have these mental cards. So I'm thinking that you're going to gradually shift your thoughts into something that's more positive and forward moving, and also let go of some of those outworn thoughts. The outcome is the Queen of Wands. This is a card that is, with wands, we're talking about the career matters, and also confidence and enthusiasm, fire energy, coupled with water energy, feminine energy, feelings, and so it's very passionate because we've got the fire and the water. It's very passionate, and I think that your intuition guides you, and it's interesting because, when I was reading Law of Attraction, they were talking about how some people would say, well, how do I know what I want? And I always read about where they say, what is it that really excites you? And that is the thing that you need to go towards. So if you don't have a clear vision, simply acknowledging what makes you happy in life is the way to kind of like nurture your, follow your bliss. I think that's the best way of putting it. So, and I would say the same with the 3 of Wands, that it's a card of following your bliss. So we are in a 3 universal year. So that's a number of joy, also a number of abundance. And I think the two go together. When you are having a good time, you will be attractive, and that means you will attract things to you that are of a positive nature. So just try to go in the direction of joy, what generates joy within you, and see your life changing for the better. Okay, Virgo, that's what I have for you. If you would like a personal reading and you've never had a reading with me before, sign up for my mailing list at rainamoonastrology.com, and you get 19% off your first reading. Also, just the link to my website is below. Have a great rest of September. Bye.